to this episode of the Palmetto Guardian. I'm Sergeant Chelsea Weaver.
I'm Specialist Anna Grace Catoe.
And I'm Specialist Turner Horton.
And today is going to be a little bit different for the podcast. I don't think we've done one of these in a very, very long time. But we're just going to go over some public affairs information. We're going to go over some fun things that we've covered or things that are coming up, and then some exciting news at the end. So we're just going to jump right in. So one thing that I wanted to kind of go over was requesting public affairs, VI or visual information, COMREL, all that fun stuff, because we still get emails and phone calls that people don't know where to go or what to do. And it's okay, because I know that M-Day soldiers, they're probably not going to get a lot of this information unless we put it out there in other formats, such as this podcast. So we do have signs in front of the studio and the VI office that has all this information, well, most of the information that I'm about to tell you, and there's QR codes that you can scan to get to requesting command photos, where to download your photos, to the website, YouTube, all that fun stuff. So let's start off with command photos. So command photos, we schedule those Tuesday through Thursdays from 13 to 1500. You must come to the studio. We've had several people ask if we can go take photos at a different location. We are not capable of doing that. If you're not able to come to the studio, you're more than welcome to take a photo just standing in front of a white solid wall or whatever with a flag, because they're not official photos anyways, so there's not really any...
There's not like a real regulation for what...
It's what we've made.
Yeah.
So, definitely have to come to the studio for that. A lot of people, we used to in the past, it's been several years now, we would let you have your unit flag or a battalion flag or a different flag with the American flag, but we stopped doing that because we were having issues with the sizing of the flags, the placement, the lighting, and everybody's photo just wasn't cohesive because we just had so much going on. So we just went back to one flag, unless you're a GO, obviously, and then you'll have a 1-star or 2-star, but we do not offer the secondary flag anymore, which I haven't seen any of those photos anywhere, so I think we've kind of funneled through them. But so one thing a lot of people don't know is we are located at the Bluff Road Armory off of Bluff Road, and we are off of the drill hall floor right next to marketing. And if you get lost, there is a big old sign on the door that says public affairs. So if you still can't find us, if you go to any office and ask where public affairs is, they will point you in the right direction. As far as requesting a command photo, I get phone calls or people stopping in the office. The only way for you to be able to request a command photo is if you send an email, and I'm going to give you the email. The email address is ng.sc.scarng.list, not plural, so list, .paostudio@army.mil, and we'll put all this down in the show notes as well. But also too, you can find this information on our website, which I'll kind of talk a little bit more about in a little bit, because there's a couple other things with that. Another thing is you need to request them at least 48 hours in advance. Don't send an email and expect it to happen that day, because more than likely we have a ton of other stuff going on. We're a little short-staffed. We have some people at school. We're getting new people, so...
I was going to say, not just because we're short.
Well, yeah. So definitely make sure that you're requesting it 48 hours prior. And when you're sending that email, make sure you're including your name, your information, especially because when I get emails from people with Gmails, if you don't have a signature block, then I don't know who you are unless you put your name, number, and all that fun stuff. And you need to put in a date and time that you're available, and I will reach out to you and say, yes, this is available. I will add you to our schedule, or no, we are not available. So these are the available dates. And I typically give 2 or 3 days for if it goes into another week, just so that you have a lot of options to choose from. So yeah, there's that.
So if anyone comes to get a command photo done and they want to get it done in their dress uniform, please make sure that your uniform is correct, because it's not necessarily our job to make sure everything looks right. Obviously, we're going to do our best, and if we see something that's wrong, like, we'll let you know. But at the end of the day, that's kind of your own accountability and not ours.
Mm-hmm. We haven't had too many issues with that, but I know it has happened in the past, so we try to put that out there. Also, too, if you're unable to make your appointment, there's been several times where we come down to the studio because our office is no longer located in the studio. We are now up in the front hall, second floor of the Armory. So we have to come from the VI office to the studio to take your photo. And we've come down here and waited for 15 or 20 minutes and then come to find out they couldn't make it or they just were a no-show. So if for some reason you can't make it, please let us know. Please call, because if you send an email, I'm not going to get it because I'm not going to be at my desk. So if you call 4706, somebody should be able to answer the phone unless for some reason we're all down in the studio. But that way we know that, or if you could at least call 30 minutes before, because typically we don't get down here 30 minutes before to set up and all that. So we're not waiting, and then there's no issues with scheduling and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, or as soon as you know that you're going to be late, or
Yes.
you're late or not be there, just let us know, because we actually are pretty busy most of the time, and it kind of stinks whenever you guys just don't show up.
Yeah. So there's that, and then the big question after taking the photo is, where do I get my photo? So the easiest answer is Flickr. And a lot of you don't know what Flickr is. You do not need an account. It is FLICKR, not ER. And it's where we post all of our photos, anything coverage that we come out and take photos of your units and stuff like that, end up on Flickr. And there's a folder specifically for command photos. So we always direct you to go there. We have QR codes outside of our studio and the VI office that you can scan that takes you right to the album, so you don't have to search anything. I believe it's on the website. If you go to our website and go to command photos, at the bottom on the right hand corner, I believe, is something that you can click on that takes you directly to the album, and you just download it from there. And you want to make sure you download the original. They give you different sizes, but if you don't download the original, when you go to print it, it's not going to be an 8x10, which is the standard of how we take and crop the photo. So that's the biggest thing, is where do I get my photo? Because everyone wants us to email it or whatever. We can't do that. That's why we put them on Flickr, so that anybody has access to them, and there's no issue with getting your photo and downloading it and all that fun stuff. Okay, so I'll talk about the website a little bit. Yes, you can get all this information on the skip page. I'm telling you right now, I can honestly not tell you where on the skip page, because they've redone the skip page and the tabs are different. This stuff is different, and it's just not user friendly for me, at least. And also too, M-Day soldiers can't get access to it unless they're on a government computer. So if you go to our website, the South Carolina National Guard website, which is now scguard.ng.mil, there is a tab that says resources, and under that is command photos. And so if you click that, all the information we just talked about, the times, the dates that we schedule, things you can and can't do, how to get to your photo on Flickr, everything is on that page. And you can get on that on a regular computer. You don't have to be on a government computer. Podcast. Do you want to kind of talk a little bit about podcasts and scheduling?
Yeah, so we typically schedule podcasts Tuesdays through Thursdays, 8:08 to like 1100.
Well, they also need to be scheduled at least 48 hours beforehand. We haven't had an issue with that, though, because recently we've been reaching out to people to schedule, so we really haven't had anybody contact us. But if you do have a topic or a subject that you want to do a podcast with us, definitely shoot us an email, because we like when people request to schedule that versus us having to send emails to everybody and try to find people to come on and talk to us about different things. So you can reach out again at the same email, the PAO Studio, or you can also reach out to Major Evans, but the easiest is the PAO Studio email, because I will get the email and I can schedule that for you. All of us get it, but I'm the one who typically schedules does all the scheduling and all that kind of stuff. So the other thing too is we can have up to 3 guests. We've had people try to have like 4, 5, 6 people, but we just don't have the capabilities. We have to have at least one of us hosting to facilitate. So we have 3 extra mics, and it doesn't have to be. We can have 1 guest. So it just depends on your section and who wants to be on it and what the topic is and everything like that. And that's really it for podcasts that I can think of off the top of my head.
VI requests, though.
Yes, that's been a big thing lately.
Yeah, so we actually finally have supplies in. We loaded all those up yesterday, so we will be good on those for a while. Whenever you guys put in the VI requests, though, what is it, 72 hours?
Mm-hmm.
72 hours before your deadline. And also there's a limit of 50 whenever putting in requests for, what is it that we normally get?
Printing. So like brochures, pamphlets, stuff like that. We can only limit up to 50 just because of supplies.
Right.
Oh, graphics. Sergeant Andrews, which I forgot to say, he's currently at school right now, so that's probably why you guys haven't seen him in any of our videos recently, but he's currently reclassing to public affairs at the Defense Information School up in Fort Meade, Maryland. So for our public affairs people out there, he's at DIMFOS, and he should be coming back at the end of August, but he's been our kind of graphics guy, and I know Specialist Catoe and Specialist Horton have kind of helped out since he's been gone, but there's a whole separate process for that. If it's something that needs to be designed from scratch, and you need it like ASAP, you need to put in a request several weeks beforehand.
Yeah, and that probably sounds super wild to a lot of people that it takes that long, but the process, there's so many revisions and there also are only so many revisions that we can do. It takes a lot longer than most people think. Plus, we have all of these other things that we've talked about today going on at the same time. And we have events that we have to go out and cover. So that's why the graphics process takes so long.
Yeah. And one thing I do want to point out is I believe we're only allowed up to 3 revisions. So we've had people come and say, oh, I want this, this, and this, and then we do it, and then they come back and they're like, oh, scratch that. And like, we can't keep revising 5, 6, 7, 8 times. Like, we just don't have the time and resources for it. So I believe we limit up to 3, and also 2, whoever the approving person is for the graphic needs to be the one who's in the meetings and signing off on the levels that it goes through, because we've also had the problem where a section would come to us, ask for a graphic, they loved it, took it to their boss, and their boss was like, I don't like this, and we had to start over. And so if you're not the final approving person, we need whoever that is to be able to finalize the graphic so that we're not doing double work. And then another thing with VIOS that we didn't mention was when you're uploading, if you're having stuff printed and you're uploading files to VIOS, it has to be PDF because that's the only format our printer will print. And once you upload that file, it must be the finalized document because we are not capable to make corrections or changes to that file. So whatever gets uploaded into VIOS and we download to print, that's what's going to be printed. So if something isn't correct before that happens, it needs to be fixed before you upload it in PDF format and then upload to VIOS.
Yeah, and if you need something corrected or made and then to be able to print it, I quit.
You're on a roll.
If there's something wrong with your file and you do need it corrected, or maybe you like the way that it looks but you want to make it better, just put in 2 separate requests. Just do one for a graphics revision, and then once that's completed to however you like it, then you can put in another request to get it printed out.
Yeah, there's a whole process, and we're not going to go into every single detail. We just wanted to put out generic information that we have lots of questions about, just so that people have a reference of what to do and what not to do kind of thing. And VIOS, a lot of people don't know where to go. You can literally go on any government computer on Google, type in VIOS, and it's literally the very first link that pops up. You'll click on that. It'll give you West or East Coast. You'll pick East Coast. And then if you've ever been on VIOS to submit anything before, a lot of people forget they have accounts because they requested a DA photo through Fort Jackson years ago. So you probably still have your information in there, but you just want to make sure all the information on the front page, once you click the work order request, is correct. If your profile shows that it's Fort Jackson, we need to permanently transfer it to South Carolina National Guard. And if you have issues with that, you can call us and we can help you through it. It's pretty simple. You can just hit transfer permanently your account or something like that. You search for South Carolina National Guard, click it, submit it, sign out and close the window, and then open a new one, because a lot of people will just go back to the beginning and they're like, my profile still says Fort Jackson, but for whatever reason you have to log out, close the window, open a new one in order for it to process, or it's going to keep saying that you're assigned to Fort Jackson. So, but again, like I said, you can call 4706. We'll be more than happy to help you through it. We have an SOP, but it's just too much information to kind of talk about right now. So the last thing before we go any further is COMREL, and Specialist Horton. He has basically taken over COMREL, and I keep getting calls about it and I don't know anything about it, and I'm so sorry if you've talked to me and I say I don't know, but let me find out, because I really don't know. So I'm going to let Horton just kind of talk about the timeline for requesting, where to go to request, forms, all that fun stuff, and then we'll go from there.
So for COMREL, you have to go to the website that she mentioned previously. You'll go to the Resources tab, then Community Relations. Then you have 4 options that you can choose from guest speaker, vehicle, like static display, aviation, and like if you want to tour a military base. You'll click that link, it'll take you to a page, and then you'll fill out the forms that it has on that page. And then you'll email. It has like the email on the page, and you just email those forms.
So what's the timeline for them to have to put a request in?
For like an average thing, like a vehicle or like the band, something like that, it's 90 days, and it's 120 days for aviation. And military can't request those things.
So it has
specifically aviation.
Okay, so it has to be like a civilian or somebody that's requesting like a flyover or something like that that has to submit everything. Okay.
You're not getting a plane for your unit's Christmas party.
Are there any events you could think off the top of your head that people have put requests in that are something that won't get approved, just so they have kind of an idea?
A dude asked for a flyover for his wedding.
Okay, I remember that.
That's a no-no.
Is there anything else?
It has to be a public event, like that's free to anyone that can like do it. So if someone contacts you wanting to see if like your unit can do a vehicle display for their golf course for like their members, that's a no-no, because everyone's not a member of your golf course.
What if it's a like a golf tournament open to the public for charity? Let me add the charity part in
The
there.
golf course is hosting an event that is free and open to anyone. Yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
Okay. I think the biggest thing is just the time frame. Like we get a lot of requests like 3 weeks out, and it's like, you should have requested this like 90 days ago or 120 days, depending on what it is. So if you're wanting something for a parade or an event that you know is coming up, like we get a lot of requests for Veterans Day or different parades throughout the year, or the band gets requested a lot, like just think of the time frame. Like, don't be like, oh, I'll just wait until a month out. Like, no, submit the request as soon as you know, that way that you can lock it in, because 1, you don't know if someone else has requested something for the same time period, and 2, you don't want to get to the last minute and not get approved because the paperwork wasn't submitted in the time frame that it was supposed to be submitted.
If it falls under those general guidelines, it's going to get approved.
Mm-hmm.
approval's not the issue. It's the resources.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless if you did it a year in advance and something were to come up, it still may not happen because of something that may just come up from that unit or something. But it's resources.
Yeah, that's definitely another thing to think about, because we're limited, especially when we have units deployed and all that kind of stuff. And if it's in a specific area, then it has to be a unit close to that event, correct? Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah. All right, so now that we've gone over all that fun stuff, I kind of want to talk about what we've done so far this year. I know Specialist Horton, you started with us in January. Catoe, you've been here for over a year now. So I kind of just want to see like things that you guys have covered that have been fun, or things that you know that's coming up that you're looking forward to, or just anything in general that's been going on in our office.
Anything with aviation's always fun. I covered an event where the flight medics for aviation did a huge exercise with Prisma Health up in Greenville and the Kiwi Fire Department up in Greenville. So that was super fun. It was really awesome to see them in action, I guess, and how they work. I also covered some aviation stuff down in Charleston. That was also a whole lot of fun. Just being able to fly with them and see what they do day to day is insane.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Horton? You've done a lot of coverage, I feel like, the last couple months.
No.
No.
I'm stuck in the abyss of COMREL, and I will never get out. I've covered not as much as I feel like I should be, but as much as I despise flying.
You don't care to cover aviation events?
Oh, that's cool.
Okay.
If I don't have to fly in it.
Okay, you just don't want to fly.
I'll be on the ground.
Okay.
But when we went to Fort Bragg to do little people that jump out of the planes,
mm-hmm.
It was cool to see. It just sucked getting there.
All right, so make sure Horton doesn't get scheduled to fly in any aircraft. I think another cool thing, Best Warrior, I know we do it every year, but every year is different. We had different people. The scheduling was different. So I think that was a lot of fun. And then I think after state level, when you and I went to regionals, that was a lot of fun because we were able to meet public affairs from different states. Georgia hosted, and they were absolutely amazing. Like, they took care of us and made sure we had everything we needed and where we needed to go when we needed to go, wherever. And it's a little bit more laid back for us because we only have to worry about 2 competitors, so we have more time to be more picky with our shots and have a little bit more time to edit in the field. That way we're getting a product out as soon as we possibly can. But I think it was cool to see how Georgia ran everything in the different events and how the competitors were together and all that fun stuff. So I think both Best Warriors were fun.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm. And then I don't remember if it was this year, but you and I also covered the Zodiac stuff with the boats.
Yeah, we did that last July, and I think we'll be doing it again.
Was it last July?
It was. This year flew by.
I swore it was only a couple months ago.
No, it was last July. I think we'll be covering it again coming up in a few weeks. I think it's like
well, I need to look at the calendar then because
it's like mid-July, I think. Mid to late July.
Okay. So that'll be fun. Maybe we'll get Horton. Horton, will you go on a boat or no?
You get floaties.
Yeah, you can get a life vest.
Do I get wet?
You don't have to.
You don't have to, but you're going to get a little wet regardless because you're in the boat and they're getting in and out of the boat.
It's not that.
That's cool.
It's fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
I'm okay with water.
Okay. Yeah.
Cool.
Last year we messed up because we didn't think to bring extra clothes. And so we were in uniform.
Oh, like on
the
boat.
Yeah, because we could have got some cool stuff getting in and out of the water, but we didn't do that. And then you ended up having civilian clothes or something that you were able to finally get in the water towards the end. But I think this year, since we know what to expect, it'll be a lot more fun, and we can get definitely a lot of cool shots that we didn't get to get last year, so that we can make a better video.
Oh yeah,
progress.
100%.
All right. So another exciting thing that's coming up is we are in the process of trying to redo our studio. If you haven't been in our studio, if you haven't been here for a podcast, command photo, video, whatever, you don't know what it looks like in here. And I'm thinking since we're going to revamp everything and it's going to look a lot different, that we might shoot a behind the scenes video I've kind of been thinking of to show everybody what it looks like now versus what it looks like in the end. But that'll be happening hopefully in the next couple weeks. Not sure when this podcast is coming out, but I know that it's going to come out before it even happens. But hopefully in the next month or so, when you guys watch, if you're listening, go to YouTube and watch so you can see what we're talking about. But I think it'll be cool for everybody to see a new look and hopefully up our production and all that kind of fun stuff.
Yeah, if you guys have any cool ideas for our studio revamp, let us know. Drop us a comment.
Yeah. And with that also too, if there's anything that you would like us to talk about, anything that you would like us to make a video about, or if you want to be in a video or on a podcast or just anything like that, please reach out to us. You can contact us on any of our social media. Major Evans, she monitors that. And then if you post comments on YouTube, I will see those. You can email the PAO Studio email. So just contact us in some way, shape, or form, because we try to make those videos and these podcasts for you guys. They're for you. They're for everybody in the Guard, the family members, the service members, Air Guard, all that stuff. We're going to start incorporating more Air Guard people too as well. So if you're Air Guard, reach out to us. But yeah, we're excited. So definitely leave us some comments, suggestions. All right. Well, that wraps it up for this episode. Hopefully it was somewhat informational. And if you guys have any questions, just leave us a comment, send us an email, call me 4706. But again, if you like this video, make sure you give it a big thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button, and we will catch you guys in the next episode.